Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress Zombies. In Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, humanity's fall begins with a mysterious virus that spreads across the island nation of Hinamoto, turning its victims into fearsome creatures known as Kabane. These beings are neither truly alive nor dead. They possess blazing golden hearts encased in metallic cages that make them nearly indestructible. Once the infection reaches the heart, the body transforms. Veins glow with molten light, muscles harden like steel, and pain becomes meaningless. Kabane sprint, leap, and tear through armored soldiers and samurai alike, shrugging off swords and arrows as if they were paper. The only way to kill them is a clean strike through the small opening in their heart cage or a full decapitation, both nearly impossible in the chaos of combat. To survive, humanity retreats into fortified cities linked by armored steam trains called Hayajiro, their iron hulls serving as both lifelines and prisons. Inventors develop steam-powered piercing guns, firing superheated tungsten rounds strong enough to punch through a Kabane's armor. Yet even these defenses are fragile. A single breach at a train station can spark instant catastrophe. As the infection evolves, hybrids called Kabaneri, humans who infect themselves to fight back, emerge, walking a fine line between salvation and monstrosity in a world consumed by iron and blood. State of Decay. Zombies in State of Decay, the undead, known as Zeds, aren't mystical corpses, but victims of a horrifyingly plausible neural infection. The parasite kills within hours, then reanimates the body with just enough brain activity to walk, sprint, and attack in unending rage. A freshly turned Zed looks human at first, pale, trembling, blood-soaked, but it quickly becomes a relentless predator, hunting by sound and motion. Gunshots, engines, or even the slam of a car door can draw dozens from across town. Because they never tire, every missed swing or gunshot can spiral into a deadly chase. Over time, the infection mutates into freaks, monstrous variants born from corrupted evolution. Screamers paralyze survivors with sonic shrieks that summon hordes. Bloaters explode in clouds of choking poison. Ferals dart like wild animals, ripping throats with terrifying speed. And juggernauts, hulking mountains of flesh, can flip cars and soak entire magazines of ammo. The sequel introduces plague zombies, oozing red-eyed variants whose bites spread the blood plague, a disease that slowly kills survivors unless cured. These creatures are bound to psychic plague hearts, grotesque pulsating masses that control nearby hordes. Destroying one triggers waves of fury and toxic gas, forcing players to balance stealth, stamina, and teamwork, or risk watching their entire community turn. Z Nation Zombies. In Z Nation, the apocalypse begins with the outbreak of the ZN1 virus, a bloodborne pathogen that kills its victims within minutes, then brutally jumpstarts the brainstem, leaving behind only hunger, aggression, and primal instinct. Newly turned zombies are fast, vicious, and disturbingly human. They sprint, climb, and hunt by scent and motion. As their bodies decay, they slow into shamblers but never truly stop, since the part of the brain that controls exhaustion is destroyed. Noise and movement attract them in massive waves, forming continent-sized hordes called Tsunamis that devour everything in their path. The story's grim hope lies in Alvin Murphy, the sole survivor of a failed vaccine trial. Bitten by zombies yet somehow alive, Murphy becomes a human-zombie hybrid with the ability to sense and control the undead. His power makes him both humanity's last chance and its greatest threat. Over time, the virus mutates, spawning regional variants, blasters, irradiated corpses that explode when shot, radiation Zs, glowing mutants that poison on contact, and phytozombies, plant-infused horrors that strangle victims with vines. Later evolutions bring mad Zs, talkers, and even blends, half-zombie cultists who worship Murphy as a messiah. In Z Nation, survival isn't just about killing the dead, it's about confronting what humanity becomes when the virus learns to think back. White Walkers/Wights, Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, the White Walkers, called the Others in George R.R. Martin's books, are ancient, supernatural beings of ice and death, hailing from the frozen wastelands beyond the wall. They were created thousands of years ago by the children of the forest, who used dragon glass to transform a captured man into the first White Walker as a weapon against humanity. But the spell backfired, giving birth to a terrifying race of pale, crystal-skinned warriors with glowing blue eyes and the power to command the cold itself. The temperature drops wherever they walk, freezing air, steel, and flesh alike. Led by the Night King, they act as a hive mind, controlling vast armies of the undead known as wights, corpses of humans, animals, and even giants resurrected with a single gesture. Ordinary weapons shatter against their icy bodies. Only Valyrian steel or dragon glass, forged with dragon fire, can kill them. For much of the series, they exist as myths whispered in the north, until they finally march south, resurrecting every fallen soldier to swell their army. When the Night King turns Daenerys' dragon Viserion into an undead ice dragon, the apocalypse becomes inevitable. The White Walkers embody nature's vengeance, a chilling reminder that winter, once unleashed, spares no one. Lollipop Chainsaw Zombies. In Lollipop Chainsaw, the zombie apocalypse begins at San Romero High School, where a dark ritual performed by a bitter goth student named Swan opens a rift to the rotten world. A demonic dimension overflowing with undead energy. A thick, eerie fog engulfs the campus, transforming teachers, athletes, and classmates into grotesque, flesh-hungry corpses. Skin turns gray, eyes glaze over, and they move with twisted purpose, attacking anyone still alive. Into this chaos steps Juliet Starling, a bubblegum-chewing cheerleader who just happens to be a trained zombie hunter from a secret monster-slaying family. Armed with her custom pink chainsaw and the still-talking, decapitated head of her boyfriend Nick, Juliet carves her way through the madness. The zombies retain fragments of their past lives. Band geeks swing tubas. Football players tackle like linebackers, and teachers hurl acid-filled beakers. Swan's ritual also summons 5 elite bosses called the Dark Purveyors, each embodying a corrupted music genre: punk, metal, funk, psychedelic, and glam. These musical monstrosities turn every showdown into a chaotic, neon-soaked performance. Combat is stylish and over the top. Sparkles explode with every combo, coins rain from corpses, and Juliet dances through fountains of gore. Beneath the humor and color, though, Lollipop Chainsaw satirizes high school culture. A gory, glitter-covered battle between pop sweetness and apocalyptic horror. No More Room in Hell Zombies. In No More Room in Hell, the apocalypse begins with the 732Z virus, a deadly infection that kills victims and reboots their brainstem minutes later, bringing them back as the Walking Dead. Transmission is brutal. A single bite, scratch, or contact with contaminated water guarantees infection. Once symptoms appear, there's no cure. Only painkillers can delay the inevitable. If a survivor dies, they collapse instantly and rise again within seconds, forcing teammates to decide whether to mercy kill them or risk being attacked. Most of the undead are classic slow shamblers, moaning corpses that shuffle through corridors. But the game keeps players tense with random spawns. About 1 in 10 zombies are runners, screaming maniacs who sprint across rooms in seconds. Kid zombies, small and fast, duck under swings and attack with unnerving speed, testing both skill and morality. Crawlers hide among corpses, grabbing ankles from below, while National Guard zombies, former soldiers still wearing armor, absorb extra damage before falling. The game's sound mechanics heighten survival horror. A single gunshot or slamming door can draw a horde. With scarce ammo and realistic damage, every bullet is precious and every choice matters. Infection, exhaustion, and fear blend into one terrifying truth. In No More Room in Hell, death is only the beginning. Red Dead Redemption: Undead Nightmare. Zombies in Red Dead Redemption: Undead Nightmare. The American frontier is swallowed by a biblical and mythological apocalypse, unlike anything else in gaming. One fateful night, the dead rise from their graves without warning, spreading chaos across New Austin and Nuevo Paraíso. John Marston, the reluctant gunslinger, returns home to find his wife and son transformed into the infected, neither alive nor dead, but cursed. His quest to save them unravels into a desperate journey through towns overrun by corpses and landscapes warped by ancient evil. The source of the outbreak lies in an Aztec mask stolen from a sacred tomb, its removal unleashing a supernatural plague that fuses Christian apocalypse with pre-Columbian myth. The infected vary in form and horror. Shambling corpses soak up bullets, while special types like bruisers charge like bulls. Retchers vomit corrosive bile, and bolters race on all fours faster than horses. Even wildlife isn't spared. Zombie bears, wolves, and cougars hunt alongside the dead. Marston fights back with silver bullets, holy water, and a grotesque blunderbuss loaded with zombie remains. Yet even after restoring the mask and lifting the curse, the world remains uneasy, a haunted frontier where legends whisper of a cowboy who rode through hell to save his soul. High School of the Dead Zombies. In High School of the Dead, the apocalypse begins without warning, name, or explanation. The infection spreads so suddenly that within hours, civilization collapses under its own panic. Those bitten or scratched die violently within minutes, only to reanimate as pale-skinned, glassy-eyed predators. Their hearts still beat just enough to power their decaying muscles, giving them horrifying endurance and strength. Yet unlike other undead, these zombies are nearly blind. They react weakly to light or movement, but possess hypersensitive hearing that can detect even a whispered breath or the clink of a dropped key. Survivors quickly learn that silence is survival. One slammed door or phone vibration can summon a horde. Once close enough, their sense of smell locks onto prey, rendering hiding useless. Society unravels instantly. TV broadcasts vanish, military barricades crumble under friendly fire, and adults fracture into cults or catatonic despair. The story narrows to a group of high school students and their nurse, armed with improvised weapons, baseball bats, nail guns, katanas, scavenging across a dead city. Every encounter is a gamble, as blood splatter or even airborne droplets can infect. High School of the Dead explores not just the horror of the undead, but the collapse of morality, authority, and sanity when youth must survive in a silent world of death. Blackwing virus zombies, Star Wars. In the Star Wars universe, the Blackwing virus, also called Project 171A or the Sickness, stands as one of the galaxy's darkest and most catastrophic scientific experiments. Born within secret Imperial laboratories, this nightmare began as a Sith-inspired attempt to conquer death itself. Combining forbidden Sith alchemy, cloning technology, and a rare flower known as the Murakami Black Orchid, Imperial scientists sought to reanimate lifeless tissue. Instead, they unleashed a pathogen that kills its host within minutes, only to reanimate the corpse as a ravenous, mindless predator. The virus first escaped aboard the prison barge Purge, and centuries earlier at a Sith academy during the Red Harvest Crisis, spreading terror across eras. Blackwing targets the nervous system, shutting down higher functions while reactivating muscles with corrupted Sith proteins, creating undead stormtroopers, Wookiees, and even cybernetic abominations like zombified rancors. These corpses continue to decay yet still move, crawl, and attack long after death, immune even to standard headshots unless the brainstem is fully destroyed. Worse still, the virus lingers in the air. Rotting bodies release infectious particles capable of contaminating entire starships. With no cure and cross-species infection, containment often means annihilation. Star destroyers vaporized, planets purged, and every trace of the project erased from official records. DayZ zombies. In DayZ, the infected are among the most terrifyingly realistic interpretations of zombies in gaming. These aren't slow, rotting corpses. They're living humans overtaken by a fast-spreading virus that turns them into violent, frenzied predators. They still breathe, bleed, and feel pain, but their minds are completely gone. Unlike the classic shamblers that stumble aimlessly, DayZ's infected sprint with frightening speed, climb obstacles, and smash through doors in a heartbeat. Their pale, blotchy skin, dilated eyes, and guttural growls make every encounter a nerve-shattering experience. The infection's origins remain a mystery. Radio broadcasts only hint that governments collapsed before a cure could ever be found. The infected hunt primarily by sight and sound. A single gunshot can echo across a valley and summon a swarm from every direction. Even footsteps on metal or the flash of a flashlight can trigger a chase. Newer AI updates make them terrifyingly cunning. They flank buildings, pursue players up staircases, and never tire. Military zones spawn armored variants that deflect weak hits, while toxic areas hide reinforced heavy infected that shrug off bullets. Because they're technically alive, how you fight them matters. Every sound, every bullet, every breath can become your death sentence in DayZ's unforgiving world.